it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
We love you. Love you.
I keep it nappy and I do what make me happy, and nobody can deny me that I'm blessed. I might be rough around the edges, maybe yes. I keep it nappy and I do what make me happy, and nobody can deny me that I'm blessed. Self-preservation, self-elevation, these days deserve celebration. No hesitation, no reservation, go for the big leagues, no relegation. Let's celebrate life, kick back and take 5, and give thanks to the source that create life. To see a sunset or see a sunrise, and see my son born with these same eyes. To see my son smile bright in every gray sky.
KBLA Talk 1580. Yes, indeed. We said we were going to talk about men's health. A conversation I'm really into because I want y'all to be good, to feel good, to know better so you can do better, feel better, love better, live better. We're being joined by a medical doctor. He's an internal medicine, HIV medicine, and lifestyle medicine physician. In his practice, he provides essential services like STD screening and treatment, HIV prevention, tuberculosis care. He's a Morehouse man. That's where he got his passion for patient care and health equity. He's a health advocate, educator, coach, and now an author. Dr. Leo Moore, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. The book is The Men's Preventative Health Guide. What to check, when to check it, and why it matters. Sounds like everything every man I know and love is running from.
And that's exactly why I wrote the book, because we know that so many men are not getting their preventive screenings. And particularly when we think about black men, we know that black men have the second lowest life expectancy in this country. Black men live around, on average, 69 years in comparison to Asian men at 82 years and white men at 75 years. So 13-year disparity there. And one component of that is screenings.
Okay, Dr. Moore. I it's partly my job to push back. Mm-hmm. Is that a self-fulfilling prophecy? I feel like we're always saying, we have the most AIDS, we have the most cancer, we have the most high blood pressure, we die. Is there a part of that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because we're stressing ourselves out, or we're accepting the fact that we're cursed or just jacked up?
I don't think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think we have to also think about the factors that have affected us to this point, but also be proactive about ways that we can break the cycle, right? So there's no way that we can forget about systemic racism, that we can forget about medical distrust that is rooted in real problems that have happened in real experiences that people have had, while also ensuring that they know that they can change their own course, that they know that they can get their screenings, they can get their vaccinations, they can see their doctor, and making sure they have access to care, because that is still a challenge that we're seeing in this country. Really?
Still a challenge. I guess it makes sense because not everybody has insurance, and that, that's another conversation for another day. There's a lot of holes in the system. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hold up the book. What is it that is stopping us? Well, us, y'all, black men. I remember when I was married, that's the reason I was chuckling. Because when I was married, I was trying to get my husband to go to the doctor. So I think, find out what's going on. You'll live longer. That's good. I love you. I want you to live longer. Mm-hmm. And it was something that he just didn't want to do. So I went to extremes. I found a really, really pretty doctor, and I thought maybe I'll go to the doctor if she's fine.
Did that work?
Kind of, yeah. Kind of did. It worked for a while. Let me put it that way.
I guess we found at least one motivating factor, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, but I don't know. But the real question is that black men are smart. Y'all generally, there's some idiots that call this show, but generally, why you know that we have challenges with high blood pressure, prostate cancer, heart disease. Why would you not get checked?
Well, there are a lot of reasons. One reason may be fear. A lot of men have experienced or associated doctors with giving bad news. And some have seen family members go, into the hospital and die while in the hospital, or family members going in for a regular checkup and, getting a cancer diagnosis. But I think it's really important for men to know that your doctor is here for you. Doctors are here for you. We want to ensure that you have the best chance of living the longest and healthiest life. And the best way to do that is to come in for your screenings. Right?
I mean, here's the thing. If your doctor ain't here for you, you need to get another doctor. Shop around, like Smokey Robinson used to say, shop around.
I
You're
100%
not stuck
agree.
with a doctor. If you don't like your doctor, go to Dr. Moore. I mean, I don't know. I think, what do you think about these findings, which we're getting more and more, that black patients get better outcomes with black doctors?
I mean, I think there's truth to it. I think we've seen data that supports it. We've also seen that, people who live in communities where there are black doctors, all people who live in those communities have better health as well.
Even if they're not going to that doctor.
Even if they're not
I haven't
going to
seen
that
that data, but the evidence around black infants is striking.
It is.
And so, if you have a HMO, not a PPO, you can still ask for a black doctor.
You can.
I've done it. They don't like it, but they will comply.
Yes, and I agree with your point about shopping around. Some doctors just have a better connection with certain patients.
Yeah.
And so I want men and women to be empowered to shop around, to see if this doctor is really listening to them or rushing them through the appointment, if they're following up on the questions that they're raising as well, and if they are trying to establish some level of commonality with the patient, like learning a person, I think is important. A bit about, what really motivates them, things they may be passionate about. It could be as simple as their children or their favorite sports team, but taking an interest in your patient, I think, is really important.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hello. And if your doctor is not interested, find another doctor. You are the consumer. Okay. So the way you have this book, it's really like a handbook to help us. It's kind of like the handbook that didn't come with the human body that you can now get from Dr. Leo Moore.
It's like an owner's manual.
Yes.
In the same way that we have an owner's manual for a car, this is the owner's manual for a man's body. And so I broke it down. Each chapter is organized by decade of a man's life. So men in their 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way up to 70 plus. And within the chapter is a section on recommended health screenings, followed by a section on recommended vaccines, and then a checklist at the end that men can take with them to their doctor's appointment to ensure that they get all of their screenings, vaccines, and discuss important topics with their doctor.
So you're literally telling them, bring this book with you to make sure you got everything you were supposed to get.
I am.
Okay. Several things to address. We can take look at a couple of these decades for highlights. But the anti-vax movement is very strong in this country right now, and particularly seems to have found a home with certain black men. How do you address that, or do you address it?
So it's not addressed directly in the book, but the way that I address it is really the way that I address a conversation one-on-one with a patient, which is giving them the risks and benefits of accepting any intervention, including vaccines, and wanting to have a conversation around what are their concerns and how we can address those concerns. But ultimately, I recognize that that patient has to make the best decision for themselves.
Right. They have agency. They get
do.
to decide what they want to do. And right now we have a measles outbreak. Miles and I were talking about that in the top of the show because it's been found in L.A., in California, and there's a couple other states. And so if you're an adult and you have especially an older adult than your last chapter, the 70 and older, and you've never had a vaccine for measles, would you tell people to go get one?
I would tell them to go get one, particularly if they are still, engaging out and about. We are seeing more and more cases, of course, of measles, more and more people being exposed to measles. So I would tell them to get their vaccine.
Yeah, I mean, and you can actually die from measles, I would think, especially if you are an older American.
Yeah, the older you get, the weaker your immune system. So increased risk.
So you would say run out and get that now because you don't want to get the dis-ease.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's start at the back and work forward. Okay. First of all, you have a section on veterans. You've got another little section on men with disabilities, with chronic conditions, with HIV. So you've got advice for special populations. And those are the folks, are these the folks we're talking about when during COVID, it was always the pre-existing conditions or comorbidities?
Yes. And also recognizing that for those special populations, they may need additional information that the other men in those other age groups would not need. So wanting to supplement what's in the chapter for other men. So men in those special populations should read the special population section and their chapter based on their age. Yeah.
But okay, so let's start with your 70 plus. I'm at the checklist. It's kind of long, but not that long. So you're telling them what screenings, what vaccinations. What about just like regular living? I see you want them to track their weight, their BMI, their muscle mass, all these screenings. What about just like nutrition and how you're living if you're 70 plus?
Well, in the talk with your doctor about section, we kind of talk about some of those areas. Here, we're not specifically talking about nutrition, but even staying independent and active. We know that in order to stay independent and active, you have to ensure that you are eating well. We also talk about memory and cognition and safety concerns. So really, these topics are meant to be a primer for the conversation that will happen between doctor and patient, like things that the patient should be thinking about while going in for that conversation, recognizing that this is not meant to be exhaustive of everything they would talk about with their doctor, but the most important things that they should discuss.
Okay, well, we'll get a couple more highlights. I'm going to kind of, I know I got, we have KBLA delegates in most of these decades. I don't think we have teenagers. Maybe we got one or two, but most of these decades. So we'll give you some advice from the doctor. You're welcome to call if you got a question, or if you're too shy, just get in the comment section of the chat on YouTube.com, KBLA 1580, and ask it there. All right, or DM me. We are unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text TIGER to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text TIGER to 321-321. That's TIGER to 321-321.
You really about to do it?
40 acres in the mule, this is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
Who among us doesn't like black music? But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions. When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you indeed. We're talking with Dr. Leo Moore. So we were in the 70s, 70s and older. You go chapter by chapter, decade by decade. Are there things that people 70 plus should just leave in their earlier decades? Aside from breakdancing, things that might not be as obvious.
Well, honestly, I think most of the things that men are doing in their earlier decades, they should continue. For example, continuing to exercise, continuing to do even mental exercises to ensure that their mind stays sharp, to stay connected with their doctor as well. So many of the things that we want men to be doing from early on, they should continue. And I think one that's not talked about enough that men should continue in their 70s is sexual health screening as well. Because we know that, if you're still sexually active, there may be a chance that you have a sexually transmitted infection. So getting those screenings and also paying attention to libido and your erection as well. Men who are in their 70s and older, as I mentioned, are still having sex. And so we want them to also be able to continue to enjoy that for as long as possible.
Right. So you're saying just the opposite. Don't stop doing stuff. Keep doing stuff.
Keep doing stuff.
I have a friend who's a doctor who told me that most people think they are healthier than they are. And I thought it was just the opposite. I thought we were all a bunch of hypochondriacs running around, crying about things that aren't really wrong with us. But he says most people and especially men, overestimate the level of their health. Do you find that true? I
find that to be absolutely true, that most men think, I can push that screening off, or, I can, I'm fine. I actually was at the hospital visiting a friend yesterday, and I was talking to a nurse about my book, and she mentioned, she's a young black nurse, and she mentioned that she had two friends, one who was 40, one who was about 45. One had a stroke, and the other had a heart attack.
Wow.
Both of them very young, right? Yeah. And both of them from high blood pressure and diabetes that were untreated. So many of us are walking around with the silent killer, high blood pressure, for example, and don't realize that we're at increased risk of dying very, very early.
What happened to the checkup? Morris is in the chat. He says, wait a minute, I thought black men were the physical specimens of the world. What happened, Doc? Y'all are. Don't feel bad. Y'all are still the physical specimens of the world, but probably also carrying the stress of the world.
Carrying the stress of the world. And we also know that even if you're the physical specimen of the world, you have to maintain your body, right? And that really is what I'm focused on here, is getting men to get their checkups in the same way. Like I mentioned, it's an owner's manual. It's that same thinking that we want to get men to be proactive about getting those screenings so that they can stay the physical specimen of men and can be around for a long time.
Okay. And speaking of checkups, this guy's not black, obviously. Joe Biden, former president, diagnosed with prostate cancer. Everyone's asking, of course, Trump is really crude about it, but it's a fair question. You've got great doctors in the White House. They probably check your every eyelash. Mm-hmm. How does this man not know he had prostate cancer?
I mean, it's a great question. I wonder, of course, we won't know what screenings were being done. What I can say is for men of average risk, they should start their screening around age 55.
For prostate cancer.
For prostate cancer.
Really, that late, 55?
That late for men of average risk. But for black men specifically, there are actually new guidelines that say that black men should start having a conversation with their doctor and start their screening from age 40 to 45.
Wow.
Because we know that black men are twice as likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer, more than twice as likely to die from prostate cancer, and that we tend to have tumors earlier and more aggressive tumors.
I did not know that twice as likely to die from prostate cancer. But prostate cancer is very treatable, right?
It is very treatable.
I mean, in the early stages. I don't know about Biden where it's already spread to his bones.
Mm-hmm. Well, if it's localized still within the prostate, there's an 100% chance of curing it. But
100%.
100%. But once it has metastasized, it drops down to 30%.
Wow.
So once it's gone to the bone or to other parts of the body.
I mean, that is a great argument, doctor, for going to get your prostate checked. They find it early, 100% chance you get rid of it.
Yes.
They find it late, like Biden, it's already in his bones, only 30% chance.
Only 30%.
And then he's 82, so that's comes with its own challenges. So black men should be getting prostate checkups in their 40s, 40 to 45. And this is the controversial checkup where, men, a lot of comedians have talked about it. I don't want nobody putting nothing in my butt, blah, 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 blah.
Well, let's take the controversy out of it completely because men don't have to have the digital rectal exam.
Digital mean the finger.
The finger, right. They don't have to have that exam. They can just have the prostate-specific antigen test. It's a blood test, and it should be done every 1 to 2 years. So I do prefer that we do the digital rectal as well because we sometimes can find lesions. We can find like hard areas there that show that there may be cancer. Of course, we then have to do additional testing. But if men opt out of it, I would rather them have the PSA or the prostate-specific antigen than nothing at all.
Jerry Anderson wants to know what's the upper end of the screening range, like after what age it's no longer useful.
So even the upper range requires a conversation with your doctor. We call that shared decision making, where the two of you are discussing, because although we may say stop around the age of 70, if you're a highly active man, you're healthy, you're still moving about, your doctor may continue those screenings with you. So after the age of 70, continue shared decision making and only stop once you and your doctor have decided.
So it's customized to the person. I mean, and that's a really great point because everybody's 70 is not the same. I mean, you look at Maxine Waters, 80-something, versus Joe Biden's 80-something. Maxine's still dancing the whole parade route in stilettos. And Biden, he's Biden. So everybody's 70 or 80 or 90 is not the same.
Exactly.
So talk to your doctor, talk to your doctor, talk to your doctor. How much, Paul wants to know, how much is genetics linked or tied due to your parents? Like, your susceptibility for things like prostate cancer?
That is a great question. So for prostate cancer, we know that first-degree relatives, so your father, brother, son, if any of them are diagnosed with prostate cancer, it does increase the risk, twice as likely risk for you as a man to develop prostate cancer. And second-degree relatives, so grandfathers and uncles, also there's increased risk, but not as much as if it's a first-degree relative. We also know that age at diagnosis of that family member is also important. So if they're diagnosed before the age of 65 years old, that also increases the risk that you would develop prostate cancer. So I think it's really important for men to be having conversations with their family members to get their family history, asking your brother, your father, your uncle, your grandfather, your mother, all about the different diseases that run in the family, because we even know that in women who've had breast cancer, they may carry the BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene, and those genes also increase the risk of prostate cancer. So having conversations with the family about family history and getting that down and taking that to your doctor is really important.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, we can continue this after news, traffic, and sports, but I'm feeling like I'm reading more science saying that it's not a death sentence, or it's not a surety, and that there's a huge impact in what you do, what you eat, how stress management, exercise. So just saying, because both my parents have diabetes, I'm sorry, not getting it. I mean, if I do, I do. But my reaction to that is not, oh no, let me just give in to diabetes. It's be an exercise fanatic, be a health enthusiast, be careful about nutrition, and deal with stress management, because it doesn't have to be that. We're talking with Dr. Leo Moore. He's got the owner's manual for your body, man. And we're continuing that after news, traffic, and sports, only right here.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Civil rights leaders honored Malcolm X on what would have been his 100th birthday. Reverend Al Sharpton spoke at the National Action Network.
It was Malcolm that globalized the struggle, took us all over the world, and made it more than just civil rights, which we needed and still need, but also human rights on an international level.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams said the city can do more to honor Malcolm X. The FBI is sending a task force to Tennessee after Director Kash Patel called Memphis the homicide capital of America. That's following a string of deadly shootings over the weekend that left 3 people dead in less than 4 hours. And New Jersey Transit are back operational today after an engineer strike. New Jersey Transit crews spent yesterday on track and safety inspections. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Southern California Edison reminds you that downed wires are dangerous. Never approach or touch a downed wire or anything in contact with it. Stay away and call 911. Learn more at sce.com/stay safe.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Angels are still playing well. After sweeping the Dodgers over the weekend, they started a 7-game road trip Monday night with a 4-3 win at Oakland. 4 straight win for the Angels and their manager, Ron Washington. The Dodgers have lost 4 straight. They lost 9-5 at home Monday night to Arizona. The Dodgers were down 7-0 after 3 innings. The Western Conference Finals tip off tonight in the NBA playoffs. Minnesota at Oklahoma City in Game 1 of the best-of-7. 2 years ago, Minnesota and OKC played each other in the play-in tournament. Both teams are now 1 step away from playing for the NBA championship. 5:30 tip-off tonight on ESPN. Detroit Lions general manager Brad Holmes gave the commencement speech Saturday at the graduation ceremonies for HBCU North Carolina A&T. Holmes was a defensive back at A&T and graduated from the school in 1999. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like it inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Dr. Leo Moore wants you to take better care of yourself. The Men's Preventative Health Guide is the book. What to check, when to check it, and why it matters. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself, says Dr. Moore. Why men? Why are you focused on men?
That's a great question. So I'm focused on men because personally, I've lost many men in my life to preventable health conditions. My father, my grandfather, my uncle. And close friends as well.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And then also just professionally in clinics, seeing so many men coming in with preventable health conditions and men dying from them because they are falling out of care. It felt as if this was really a mandate that was placed on my heart and, a vision that was given to me to write this book.
When you say preventable, you're talking about something, we just talked about prostate cancer, which I'm still baffled by the former president not knowing he had it. That just sounds like, sorry, I call BS. But, because they have top care. But anyway, you see, we just talked about how if you go in early and they find it, 100% chance they'll clear it up. If it's late stage, 30% chance. So when you see someone come in with preventable, you're talking about something that should have been treated, gone, and they moved on with their life and never thought about it again, and now they could actually die from it?
Yes.
Because they waited too long?
Yes.
Give me other examples besides prostate of that kind of thing.
High blood pressure, diabetes, also colon cancer screening as well. Men who aren't getting their colon cancer screening early enough and come in with a late diagnosis of colon cancer, a diagnosis that at that point the colon cancer has spread.
You sound like Dr. Zuri Morel, who was in here saying that black men should start getting screened for colon cancer even into their 30s now.
Yes.
Because it's popping up in men in their 30s.
It is. One thing that you mentioned, though, that I would love to highlight is the importance of not only going in for preventive care, but also the things that we eat, the foods that we're taking in, right? Getting our exercise, getting our sleep, managing our stress. You mentioned that I'm a lifestyle medicine physician. That's a board certification that I achieved recently because I recognize that so many components of our health can be managed by these 5 pillars of lifestyle medicine. And so those 5 pillars, I'm going to go through them quickly. Nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress management, avoiding risky substances.
What, like what? I mean, obviously fentanyl, but besides that.
So, any illicit drugs, I also would say tobacco, smoking, and, one that we're not talking about enough is hookah smoking, because, that really is a craze, I would say. A lot of people are smoking hookah. And
that's just tobacco, right?
It is, but because it's social smoking, people don't realize that an hour on a hookah is like smoking 100 to 200 cigarettes.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I've never hookah. Well, I might have taken one puff. I think I took one hookah puff when we were in Zanzibar, right, Miles? Yeah. But not no hour. An hour is 100 cigarettes. That's crazy. What about cannabis? Do you put that in the risky substances category?
I do put cannabis in the risky substance category. category. And one of the reasons I put it there is, of course, our data is evolving around this, but one thing that we are seeing is that people who are smoking cannabis more regularly, smoking or vaping cannabis more regularly, are at increased risk of heart disease and strokes.
What about eating it?
So it's also come up with eating it as
Edibles,
well.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's the doctor. Morris wants to know why Japanese don't die from smoking like we do. I've never seen evidence that they don't, but that's what Morris believes.
I also haven't seen evidence that they don't die with as much smoking. And, many of them develop COPD or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and asthma as well.
Wow. Okay, so we said we were going to do a couple of these decades. We did 70 plus. Your advice for the 70 plus is Trump's about to have his birthday, so he needs blood pressure, BMI, nutrition, cognitive, and mental health. He needs that times 3. HIV and STI. Okay, so let's go to 60s.
Okay.
60s. It's similar, this list. And I notice you have HIV and sexually transmitted diseases in 60s and 70s, and a lot of people would think, why? They're old guys. They don't need to have STI
Because
tests.
let's be honest, we know that many are still having sex. If you're still having sex, you should continue to get screened. And I am a person that has always said, regardless of if you're in a relationship or not, your sexual health is your responsibility. So even if these are men who are in a committed relationship, we know that sometimes people step out of committed relationships, right? So it's important for men to be proactive in getting their screenings. When they're getting their other screenings, get that HIV and STI screening as well. It doesn't hurt to have the screening.
Shingles screening starts at age 50? Okay.
Shingles vaccination.
Yeah. Oh, these are the immunizations. Okay. You want shingles, pneumococcal, Tdap, influenza. Sorry, Doc, can't do it.
Can't do
influenza.
Tell me why.
Because I feel like they're cooking up those vaccines every year or two, and they're kind of guessing. Number one, number two, I feel like my body has the, part of our body's job is to have an immune system that fights off dis-ease.
That is very true.
And going through a flu, it's part of life.
Well, I think this speaks to what we talked about earlier, which is risks and benefits, right? And so having a conversation about it and also thinking about what other things you may be doing to prevent your risk of flu. And then you make that decision for yourself.
I mean, yeah, and also I'm a health enthusiast, right? I eat more fruits and vegetables in a day than most people probably eat in a month.
I think I'm like you then.
Herbs, vitamins, I work out, I walk, I do yoga. I lift weights. I mean, so it's not like I'm just going, I'm not going to take a vaccine, and I'm not going to do anything else. I do everything else. So, but that's just me. I did take what they like to call the jab, COVID. I did take a couple of those.
Okay.
But I also am a big believer people should make up their own minds. You have that in the 60 to 69 checklist. Get your COVID shots and all the boosters.
And all the boosters.
What did I expect him to say? He's a doctor. You said risk of falls. How do you get a screening for risk of falls?
So one thing that they can do is a timed up and go test. So seeing how long it takes for you to get up, walk across the room, and walk back. So we have other screening tests.
Okay, because it's like a physical test.
It's a physical test.
Okay, right. So if you can do 200 burpees, you're probably good.
Right.
I mean, I just know from my work with Attorney Zorn Basic, the elder care attorney, that falls is like it can be a spiral for older folks where they start now that it's hard to recover. Now you're in therapy. Now your mobility is compromised.
Yeah, falling and breaking a hip, greatly increases the risk of death within the next few years.
Okay. Weightlifting is a big help for that, right? Because if you have muscle mass, you're less likely to break bones.
It is. And that's one of our pillars of lifestyle medicine. We want people to keep lifting weights for as long as you can. And even if you're lifting small, weights, like if it's 2, 5, 10.
Soup cans, right?
Yes, but continue to lift. I was talking to my grandmother 2 days ago, and she was saying, I'm a bit more tired than I usually am. And I know it's because I'm not exercising. So she's going to get back on the bike and start moving around and lifting light weights. I mean, if you don't use it, you lose it.
That's more true of the body than anything. And I'm sure you saw the studies because you're a lifestyle guy, that people who've never exercised before in their life, if they start lifting weights in their 80s and 90s, they still gain muscle mass. The body is a miracle. It's a doggone miracle.
Your body is going to go in the direction that you tell it to go. So if you were telling your body get strong and you are doing the work, you're lifting weights, your body's going to respond to that. Your body is primed to jump into action if you put it in that direction and you do the work.
I mean, and here's the thing. Your body is programmed to tell you it's never too late. If you can gain muscle mass starting to lift weights for the first time in your 90s, your body is telling you it's never too late to change your lifestyle, right?
Yes.
That's amazing. The body really is a miracle.
And I like to say that, every goal has a day one. So I know that there may be men who are listening now who have not been working out. They haven't been even walking or exercising. But today could be your day one. And as you just mentioned, our bodies are primed and ready to react. They're ready to improve.
They want to live.
They want to live.
And the thing is, I always say this because I'm a health enthusiast, but you don't have to join a gym. You don't have to do CrossFit. You don't have to make a pledge. You can actually walk around the block a few times every day, or 3, 4, 5 times a week. And what I read, it will increase the amount of years that you're mobile, that you don't have to be in a wheelchair or on a cane, just by walking around the block a few times.
Yes. And we all have a floor underneath us, so we all can get down and do floor exercises, even if it's, bracing yourself on the end of a sturdy, stable chair and trying to dip down. It could be doing a few push-ups, depending on your ability, and working your way up to doing more of those, or doing crunches, or even just laying on your back and trying to lift your legs. There's so much that we can do around our home. And you mentioned lifting cans. Well, lifting that gallon of milk, or lifting that pint of milk. So there's so many ways to start at home. So don't let not having a gym membership stop you. Also, buying a $30 pack of resistance bands from Amazon, for example, gives you some additional weightlifting and resistance training that can support muscle mass.
And there's some great videos on YouTube. I mean, yoga and other things that you can have free classes in your house. There was a recent study from the British journal called Age and Aging, and they found that even a few minutes of moderate exercise, i.e. walking, improves brain functioning as you get older. So your cognitive ability, can you remember stuff? Are you going to get dementia? Just a few minutes of moderate exercise. Now, and it also says if you can run sprints or do a little bit more, it will even have a greater impact on your brain.
Yeah, thank you for raising that. Every little bit counts. I think that's so important. That's why every goal has a day one. And if day one you can only walk for 5 minutes, or you can only take one walk around the block, stay at it. You'll be able to take more walks around the block, and your body will benefit from all of that.
Yeah, I mean, reduced risk of dementia. And older adults can actually improve their brain health. Like, it can go from not so good to better just from exercise. The body truly is a miracle. We're talking with Dr. Leo Moore, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, also known as AD, a type of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior, making everyday tasks challenging. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? There are things you can do to help reduce your risk for developing AD. Managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure is crucial. Staying physically active, maintaining social connections, eating a healthy diet, and keeping your mind engaged with activities like reading or puzzles can all contribute to brain health. It's also important to recognize some common signs and symptoms of early AD, such as forgetfulness that causes problems with everyday life, asking the same question a few times in a row, and difficulty concentrating on basic tasks. If you see these signs in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatallzearly.com. That's treatallzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI. Pasadena City College is proud to support Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. For over 100 years, PCC has been a pillar of the community, and we're here for you as we work together to recover from the Eaton fire and rebuild Altadena's future. At PCC, we offer diverse career education programs that prepare you for in-demand jobs, fueling both today's recovery and tomorrow's growth. Whether you're starting a new career or advancing your skills, PCC gives you tools to build your future and your community. Pasadena City College, here for the Dena, here for you. Learn more at pccfordena.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
The Men's Preventative Health Guide. All my brothers out there in our delegation, what to check, when to check it, and why it matters. Dr. Leo Moore, MD, MSHPM. You got a lot of letters after your name, but where can we find the book and where can we find you?
So you can find the book and me at drleomore.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Dr. Leo Moore, DrLeoMoore. You can also find the book on Amazon, on barnesandnoble.com, on Apple Books, Google Play Books, and Kobo.
Okay, it's a lot of places. You don't have to go to Amazon. A lot of folks are boycotting right now. I'm glad that you emphasize preventative. When I was listening to you say you're a lifestyle doctor, I was thinking, why aren't all doctors required to have more nutrition, more prevention, more understanding of physiology, exercise beyond just pathology and disease?
Mm-hmm. So I think medical educators would say that in that 4 years of medical school, they're trying to cram so much in.
Yeah.
I remember my nutrition rotation was only about 6 weeks during medical school. And so that's why I searched for this certification, because I know that so much prevention is in our behavior. And so lifestyle medicine, I think, even in my own life, I will say, has all of those pillars. I've implemented them in my life and have seen the benefits.
More since taking that.
More.
You know, it's funny because I'm sorry, but I want my doctor to be healthy. Like, if you're looking like you're about to keel over dead, why would I take advice from you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think I want my doctor to be black, and I want my doctor to work out and eat healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. Mm-hmm. Preferably someone who has created a paradigm, i.e. a preventive health paradigm, where they can get paid by me living, and they don't only get paid when I'm dying.
100%. Well, I will say, if you go to my Instagram, you will see me working out pretty regularly, because I feel like, we really should practice what we preach. And I'll share a little bit about my health journey, Dominique. So when I was in college, I decided to change my life, because growing up in the South, I'm born in Mobile, Alabama, raised in Atlanta, Georgia, eating a lot of Southern delicacies a lot. And I loved rice and dressing and all the things,
smothered
fried
everything.
chicken, and So I decided that I was going to lose some weight, and so I remember I went on the Fat Smash diet, Dr. Ian Smith, and from there I lost about 40 pounds, and I continued to exercise. I remember being so scared of the gym because I had not been trained in a gym before, and so I started out with Taibo and working out, running around laps around the park. And from there, I started getting more and more confident in my body and started learning about weightlifting and started going to the gym. So I think it's important for people, one, to start now. It's never too late to start, but I encourage folks to start early.
Yeah.
Start as early as they can.
Okay, so here's a big question since we're talking men's health. And I want our KBLA delegation to be healthy because I love you guys, okay? So what is a turning point in a man's life where they say, you know, after this age, it's time to get serious. It's time to stop taking your body for granted?
So I believe it's time to stop taking your body for granted as early as your 20s. We know that
20s.
when I'm going to say I'm all about the lifestyle, right? So and the lifestyle, your life is a journey over your entire life. So for me, starting as early as you can. Say you're already in your 40s, okay, start today. But if you're in your 20s and you happen to be listening, I would say start with the book and track along. Make sure that you are eating healthy, that you are exercising, that you're getting your sleep, your stress management, you're avoiding risky substances, that you're maintaining a sense of community. I think that's important as well. We don't talk about that. The past Surgeon General talked about a loneliness epidemic that we have in this country as well. So making sure that you're building community and maintaining community. And I will say that's also outside of a relationship, because sometimes, you know, people get married or they get into a relationship and they only focus on that relationship. But I think cultivating family and other friends as well is important.
Right, not just having your boo be your whole world. Kwamel Allah says black doctors are important as they won't advise or prescribe to you based on medical racism about pain drugs, etc. And I do think that legacy of racism is part of the reason that black men don't want to go to the doctor, don't want to be a Tuskegee experiment, don't want to be given medicine they don't need or not given medicine that they do need. But that's why I say shop around and be aware. What would you say to that?
I 100% agree with shopping around and being aware. And I will also say that for men who are looking for a black doctor and say that they're in an area where they cannot find a black doctor, that there are doctors of other races and ethnicities who will care deeply. I think it's just important to continue to shop around, have those conversations with those doctors, get a sense of, is this a person that is taking a true interest in you and in your care, who is asking you questions to better understand you, who is taking the time with you to answer your questions. And I always say for folks to advocate for themselves and not to leave the room until they've had their questions answered.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you might even have to write it down. I think some people are intimidated by y'all's white coats. Like they watch too many doctor shows and they think doctors are like, gods.
And there are some doctors who are still in that paternalistic mindset. For me, during a visit, I am sitting and facing my patient and we're having a conversation. It is less of me at the computer trying to document while I'm talking to them, because I can document at any time. But a connection is truly made when you're looking at each other, when you're at eye level, when you feel that a person is really listening and attuned to what you're saying. And also your body language. We can't see body language when we're typing at a computer.
Yeah, it's a great point. Morris says no processed foods, eat more garden foods, no stems, no seeds that you don't need. There has been a lot of talk, though, now, but more frequently about processed foods, staying away from the inside of the store and getting to the outside aisles where the fresh things are.
I agree with that messaging, but here's the thing. I never try to hold people to saying never have a processed food.
Right.
More so, maintain a balance. There are some foods that are processed that I eat that are still better for me than other foods. Protein bars, for example, those are processed, right? So I don't deal in absolutes, but more so for us thinking there's some foods that should be a treat and other foods that we should be having daily.
Yeah, Doc. My version of that is fast food is entertainment. It's not actually food. If you want to do it, enjoy it, but then go get you something with nutritional value. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you. We got a minute left here. Dr. Leo Moore, what do you want to leave our black men, our beloved black men, with this morning?
Black men deserve to live long and healthy lives, and that is one of the main reasons that I wrote this book. So I am encouraging men, regardless if you get the book or not, to ensure that you're checking in with your doctor regularly. And one tip that I'll give you is your birthday is a great opportunity to check in with your doctor. In the same way that you have to renew your tag for your car, in the same way that you may be planning a trip or a celebration, it's an opportunity for you to check in with your doctor and see what screenings you're due for. Take care of yourself and know that I and many other doctors care for you and want you to live a long and healthy life.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Leo Moore, thank you for the work that you're doing, educating and saving lives. It's much appreciated. And I hope you'll get the book, The Men's Preventative Health Guide by Dr. Leo Moore. Tavis Smiley is up next. You know that. He's got a great show on deck for you because that's just what he does. I'm Dominique DiPrima. Don't forget to tap in with me on all the social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, especially on Instagram. Now I'm on TikTok doing big things. diprimaradio, DIPRIMA radio. Dr. Leo Moore is on Instagram, and so is KBLA. Tavis Smiley is up next. Like my mama used to say, history is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Civil rights leaders honored Malcolm X on what would have been his 100th birthday. Reverend Al Sharpton spoke of the National Action Network.
It was Malcolm that globalized the struggle, took us all over the world, and made it more than just civil rights, which we needed and still need, but also human.
The homicide capital of America. That's following a string of deadly shootings over the weekend that left 3 people dead in less than 4 hours. And New Jersey Transit